Hey everyone, and welcome to Boss Talks. We have a great episode today, episode 135, with Latrice Leake with Mission Rock Residential. She is the learning and development specialist with them, and she is all over the place doing trainings all the time. Today, a 4-hour marathon. I mean, I appreciate her so much for jumping on with me right after that, literally right after, giving me more of her energy. And thankfully, she has plenty of it and thrives off of speaking. You may have seen her at some of the different speaking engagements at Apartmentalize last week. She had a session talking about, I believe it was ADHD or neurodivergent things and how that affects you in the workplace and learning and all that good stuff. I believe she did it with Jennifer Carter and Mike Brewer, which is fantastic. And I had the privilege of doing some things with them last week as well. But we're going to get into it thick with all the things that she is passionate about, and super excited to have her today. And side note, she actually was the person that nominated my special guest in Vegas, Marcella Epsteiner, when I was there doing a podcast palooza. So thank you, Latrice, for nominating her and getting us connected, because that was a super special time there in Vegas. But before we get into any further, I again am Evan Happel, your host today with Community Boss, and we have a great solution for you when it comes to parking, amenities, and mapping. Generate some revenue through those sources, and just in general bring peace to those areas, those shared spaces, we like to say. So if you have any questions about that and how that technology works, I can help you out. But today it's about Latrice, so let's get to it. Latrice,
hey y'all.
Thanks for being here. And look, check it, Boss Bling, straight from Vegas. Didn't even have to ship it.
This might be from last year, actually. I still have mine.
Well, I hope you grabbed a new one too.
I did. Thank you.
Perfect. Spread it around. Keep it for yourself. Yeah. I don't care.
Yes.
It's always good to have a spare in your.
You gotta keep wardrobe. A spare, boss. We need grills next year. If I can get a Boss grill.
I'm telling you, we have discussed this. There's either grills or maybe some rings that go across the knuckles.
Yes.
They sell them. They do. It's the thing. We could do it. There's so many things we could do. But there are a lot of people that enjoy the necklace. And each time we move around for Apartmentalize, it's kind of there is some, carryover. There are people that have been there, but there's a lot of new folks too. So it is always accepted and worn proudly amongst the people at Apartmentalize. So we're always having fun with that. But today, our boss is Latrice. And like I said, you are, well, I don't know if you are giving this title to yourself. It was given to you by others, but Solutionista.
Yes. So I gave the title to myself because of, like you sometimes have like a gift to do something and you're like, one day my friend was like, girl, you're the plug. And I'm like, what do you mean? And like, I need to get all into it. And she was like, you just have a way of connecting people and finding solutions and fixing people's problems. Like, I'm the person that people call to fix their problems, even when sometimes I can't fix my own. So I kind of just pinned myself as the Solutionista. So,
well, I like it. I'm sure it plays well every time you use it. Yes. So it just gets people ready. It means that you're playful but serious. Yes. Like you're gonna bring the content, but you're gonna do it in a way that is very much well received.
Yes, yes.
So bring the fun. Yeah, we got to have fun when we're doing these different presentations and stuff. Otherwise, no one's retaining anything.
I agree, 100%.
And I've only given I've done one session at our local association, and I give all the props to all of you for doing this on the regular, because I don't know if I'm going to do many more.
Why?
I don't know if it's my thing. I I just like to banter. I like to talk. I like to ask questions. I like to have conversations, but I don't really like to talk at people, like towards just me only. I couldn't do a solo
Okay.
podcast
Okay.
because I don't find myself very interesting. Um but you know,
That's your perception. I think
that
you're
is my
very funny.
perception,
I think you're
100%.
very funny. I think,
Yep.
I think there's a place for every person that's an expert on something, right? Whatever your
Yeah.
niche is. Like there's a place for you at Apartmentalize. We're gonna call Kimberly Hurden or Jennifer Carter. We're gonna find out what it is. We're gonna have to take an assessment. But they have panels. Why not do a panel and like
I
host
think I'd be good in a fishbowl.
a fishbowl, a panel? Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd rather the fishbowl because you have questions coming at you, right? Like
Yeah.
it's more interactive.
Yeah. I like that too.
Yeah. So
Very good.
anyways, enough about me. This isn't about me.
It's about you too.
You're the boss today. And beyond today. Let's be serious. But there's a few questions I have to ask, and then we'll jump right into all things what your career, how it's gotten you to where you are, and all those topics that we want to really make sure we get through. So the first question that I like to ask is around parking and your experience within the industry, maybe way back to when you were on site. And what is it? Maybe a story, a solution, something, even currently when you're training people, not to say that you're talking about parking all the time, but it is the thing in the industry. It is an issue. But so yeah, what is it that maybe comes to mind that surrounds parking?
Oh my gosh, parking, man.
Or a
So I
personal
worked in a look.
experience.
Say it again.
Or a personal experience.
Oh, I got a couple.
Okay.
So parking, man, there was one community that I worked at that was like high rise. And my maintenance guy, he was like one of those like really into like helping the residents. He would carry the packages and open the doors, and everybody knew his name. And something was going on. And for some reason, this garage like drew arguments for all the time. I don't know. Everybody's always arguing in the garage. I'm like, y'all go home, please. Like go inside and argue. And my maintenance supervisor almost got in a fight, and the guy pulls off, broke the lever to kind of let people in and out of the garage. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I feel like that garage was haunted. And we just had crazy experiences with people getting towed and trying to hide cars. And so there's definitely a space for you and what you guys do to help alleviate some of the challenges that our industry experiences. Because parking, while it's not a hot topic all the time, I think it really can add peace or chaos to your business. So
100%. We like to say we bring peace and fairness to the
I
parking
love
lot.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicole Stewart said she's never going anywhere. She's like, as long as I'm here, they will be with us. So I love that. That's some good promotion.
Legit. Yeah. She wasn't faking it. She said yes to being an ambassador because she legit believes in what we're doing. And we just happen to be a fun brand. That's all.
Yeah. I think that's the icing on the top. I mean, if you guys were boring, then that would be like whatever.
I know, right? Like we have a lot of competition. We're the most fun. I guarantee it.
Agreed.
All right. Well, thank you for giving your little anecdote. I appreciate it. Your next question is around music. So when it comes to music, what is a go-to maybe song or artist or combination when you're trying to get motivated, maybe for that next speaking engagement or something you're working on, getting going?
Ooh. So I'm going to say Kendrick Lamar.
Okay. All right.
Kendrick is, listen, if I'm sleepy in the car, I put on Kendrick, I wake up. If I need to get pumped up for a meeting or a presentation, it's going to be Kendrick every time because he gets
all right. So maybe give me a new song because I have like 3 or 4 of his songs on the so I have a playlist and I want you to contribute to the playlist. So say a Kendrick. If we already have it, maybe give a different artist because Kendrick's well represented. I'll just say that.
Yeah, he is. So you want a different artist?
No, it's okay. I mean, unless do you have something of his that maybe is not obscure, but something that not everybody knows that maybe they should know?
Loyalty, or love are both. Do you have those?
I haven't heard either.
Loyalty. Okay, it's really good. It's a little cussing.
Okay. All right.
Language.
All right. Well, maybe I'll find a clean version. I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, those two. Those two. Kendrick is amazing. I think as a person who is a Gemini too, because he's a Gemini, I love his thought process. It's something about intellectual people that just does it for me. You know what I mean? Like there are people that are like literally attracted to intellect. Like that's me. So when I hear like the way he thinks, rest in peace to Drake. I'm joking. But Kendrick, why did you have to do? No, so it's those things. It's the way that he thinks. He's so far down. He's like 10 steps ahead of every rap battle. So yeah, that's why it's him every time. Okay.
Yeah, and I've said this before, but I didn't know much about him till the Super Bowl.
Really?
I'm not like, I just kind of turn on the radio and I listen to whatever's there. Type of person. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is because it opens me up to a bunch of new music, which I enjoy. So I now have a curated huge list that I can just plug in and play and learn new music. And most of it, probably 50-50, is stuff I've never heard. So yeah, no, I've been listening to a lot of Kendrick lately because of the playlist. So I appreciate it.
Love it.
Yeah. And he won the
Rap Artist of the Year, I think.
But like not Pulitzer.
Oh yeah.
What did he?
I think he is a Pulitzer Prize winner. He's brilliant. He really is smart.
Yeah.
So, and he's controversial, which I am as well. If you see my post, I am an advocate for the underdog. Not that I champion everyone, but I definitely feel myself being drawn towards celebrating, uplifting people without a voice. And I feel like he does that really well too.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into more of that because I know that's kind of in the vein of what we're going to talk about. But no, that's good. I can rock with that. It's kind of what we're doing here in Boss Talks.
Yeah.
So, uplift all the bosses, not just just the loud ones,
The quiet ones.
Yeah, the quiet ones, everybody, there's a spot for everybody. I'll give everybody the mic,
I love it. Love it.
All right. And then finally, when it comes to your caffeinated beverage of choice, what's your go-to?
I love a good caramel iced coffee.
Okay.
With extra ice. So I have this. So when I was younger,
a really big cup?
Big one. I need the big one, but I need so much ice that it's really small in drink, like small in liquid, but really, really full with ice because I love ice. Like I will chew on ice all day. I know. And not because I'm anemic, because they say if you chew on ice, you're anemic. No, I just like ice. I like the crunch. I'm an ice snob. So those of you out there who know about good ice, like Starbucks when they have those little bubble ice, or Sonic, Chick-fil-A. Yeah.
So yeah, what's your favorite ice?
My favorite ice is like Starbucks, the little circles that are like crunchy with a little bit of air, aerated.
Okay.
Love it.
That you can actually like crunch through.
Yes.
It's not gonna break your teeth.
Nope. I like having teeth, but
yeah. Yeah, I'm opposite. Like if I get a drink with too much ice, I'm angry. So,
really?
Oh yeah.
They're always happy when I come by.
I'm like, I want more drink. You're ripping me off.
No, it's my way to get my fix, but not all the calories. Okay. Cut off some calories. Give me some ice.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for
You're welcome.
Answering. And for anybody that's watching, I'd love for you guys to drop. I see some lurkers. Don't just lurk. You gotta comment. Tell us where you're watching from. Make sure you give some love to Latrice. All right. All right. Well, we made it through. Now it's on to bigger and better things, all things Latrice. I'd love to know a little bit about your background, kind of your your journey in the industry. How did you get to where you are, and just things you learned along the way.
Sure. So I started my senior year of high school. I got a job working at County Seat. I don't know if y'all know what County Seat is. It's like Levi's jeans, like back in the day.
Okay.
And I was climbing all the way up to the ceiling, getting jeans down for people. And I was like, something about this is not for me. So I got a call from a friend and was like, oh, they're hiring for a part-time leasing consultant. It'll be great. You'll be wonderful. And I literally got into the industry senior year of high school and have never done anything else. I've done this for my entire adult life.
That's
And so
crazy.
I always say to people, either you get into it and you love it or you hate it. I always say that. And it's true. It's polarizing. You love it or you don't. And so just kind of moving through my journey, I would just kind of like put my eye on someone and kind of like aspire to be like them. I think early on in my career, like it was more like emulating who was doing it well so that I could get ahead. And I think there was like a pivotal moment when I really started to get promoted and grow and to be seen for who I was when I was like, well, at a certain point, it's not about emulating, it's about fully embodying who you are, so that somebody behind you can connect and maybe you mentor. And so that's kind of where I've been, just kind of learning who I am and, my leadership style, who I am as a team player, and where I fit in within my organization. I think Mission Rock has been the best place that I've worked. Listen, I have worked at some crummy places, y'all. Y'all are out there. You know what I'm talking about. I have worked at some places where they would call us slumlords, and we would have to have deputies go deliver notices or do evictions. I had to have like 6 officers go with me to do evictions in PG County, Maryland. So it's just been a wonderful journey. The bitter and the sweet has made just such a great, rich journey for me.
Well, that's great. And how many different management companies have you been a part of? Like 26 years. That's some time. And you started, like you said, 18.
So, man, I don't know the number. It has been a lot because here's the thing. You could be owned or managed by one company and they switch. So we've had some of those transitions.
Sure.
Properties selling, kind of switching off to grow if there was no growth. So it's been quite a few companies. I think earlier in my career, I would change jobs. Don't judge me. No judgment. No judgment, y'all. Like every year.
Kind of judgy. Little judgy.
Say it again.
I said kind of judgy, little judgy.
A little judgy. Judge your mama, not me. I would literally change like every like 1, 2, 3 years. And eventually, like I started connecting with like different businesses that align with my values. I think sometimes we're like just trying to get the job. I just need a job. I just need to work somewhere. But when we're not as pressed, right, and we're literally interviewing the organization, like, do they align with your core values?
Yes.
I think kind of coming into 2020 when I started at Mission Rock, I was able to see through some political unrest how much Mission Rock aligned with my values. And it was really impressive. Too bad I can't say I was like the smart person that figured it out before I started, but it was good and it kind of clarified for me. It crystallized for me. Just in every interaction, in my relationships, in my friendships, it's important to connect with things that align with who you are, not necessarily just who you want to be, but who you are in this moment and then where you want to go. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. I've left companies because I was like, and honestly, as people, we kind of refine ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Come to our own and maybe things change and our thoughts change or ideas change. maybe even our, belief systems and all whatever.
Mhm.
But I've left things because it didn't align with where I was. And because it's hard to work places you don't agree with.
Ooh, especially if you're like outspoken, because
Yeah.
like sometimes I'm like, and here's the thing, honestly, I made up in my mind. I have this unspoken rule. So I will not badmouth my company. Like, how people go online, like on Facebook, like
Oh
if I'm
gosh.
having a bad day or I have a bad interaction, like seriously, like not just for Mission Rock. I just feel like as a professional, not bad mouthing or putting things out there is very respectful, right? This is the place that you're investing your professional career in. It's gonna be hard for me, right? So I like being in a place where I can say positive things and really mean it, and it's true, and I'm not like faking and conjuring up this smile. I think I've connected so well with our mission and our vision. And it's like hearing it from the ladies at the top, like these ladies really have something amazing going on here at Mission Rocket. So, yeah, our senior execs, you met, of course, Marcella, Meredith Wright, who is our president, our CEO, Pat Hutchison, like all of our leadership, all of our senior C-suite leadership are absolutely great humans. It's so easy to work for people that are good humans as opposed to low down, dirty scoundrels. And I'm sure
100%.
we've all worked for one or two, in our career.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Working for somebody that is all about the money, but not really about the actual business.
Right.
Only about the business if it makes them the money,
Or even the people. Like
Yeah.
when you are, people focused, like we can get you the money. If
Right.
you can treat me like a good human and show me my worth and speak into the value that I bring to your organization, I'll cross a river for you.
Right.
You know, I'll
Right.
climb a mountain, whatever I got to do to make it happen. So,
Right. No, it's 100%. Like, I'm not trying to not like where I work,
it's just happening because y'all are
Like,
bad.
like if you want me to not like it, then
Oh my
then
gosh,
I'll
it's
do
like
that
struggle
and I will
bug.
leave. Yeah. And then sometimes you don't necessarily not like things. It's just like, again, values.
Yeah,
You got to be in tune with yourself, you
agreed.
know?
Agreed.
Yeah. And I think that goes to kind of some of the stuff you want to talk about. Empowering learning and development through human-centered design. So like the way you go about teaching and developing people at Mission Rock, like through the work you're doing now, you're looking at the people and getting them to, you know, give an output that you have a desired output. Um, and if you guys are true in your mission and stuff, people are either going to align with that or not align with that. But if you're
Exactly.
consistent, it's gonna yield the right mix. As Marcella put it, the Kool-Aid.
The Kool-Aid, the sauce. She's amazing.
But yeah, so what is it that you like to do when it comes to how you design your learning and things like that to really be human centric?
Sure. So we are a team that really does focus on how our learners learn. At first, some of our older systems and trainings, they were kind of set up like, oh, here's a user guide, and you can click into our software and go through. And we found that some of our learners didn't really retain the information. So we
Mm,
kind of switched and made a very hybrid approach. Like some people need that user guide. Some
yeah.
people need someone to sit with them and walk them through step by step, or maybe a video. And so just kind of teaching people the way that they learn and doing it with such patience. We do have a systems trainer, and she's absolutely amazing. Lisa Ward. Everybody says she's a saint, and she really is. So occasionally we'll get a help desk ticket in, and we just kind of help people and not only that, but then we also like measure the impact of our trainings and we follow back up with them and say, you've made this much improvement over the last quarter. Congratulations, or great work. I think it's not just about teaching people, but then when they do get it, celebrating them at the end as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowing that you're actually getting it. That's
Yes.
helpful.
Yes. Because we've had it, change a little bit where we came back and they still didn't get it. So we had to come back to the drawing board and say, what are we missing? Is there something that we're missing with this learner? They're showing a really high aptitude to learn. They have a very positive attitude, great reviews. Is there something that we're missing? I talked about it in our DEI presentation with Jennifer Carter and Mike Brewer about how neurodiverse people listen. We learn very differently, right? There's sometimes, depending on how the content is presented to me, my brain will literally shut down. Okay. Hey, Wendy, good to see you, girl. But like our brains will shut down. But if you give it to me a certain way, I'll retain it. And not only that, I will literally give it back to you 10 times better, right? And so just being mindful of those things and being considerate of our learners, it just helps them to grow and succeed.
Yeah. And I like that you said you basically, instead of putting it on them that they didn't get it, you reflected on, did we present it in a way that they could actually retain it?
Absolutely. And I love our software because it gives us the opportunity to see like how much time people are invested in the trainings. And we've had 30-minute trainings where somebody invested 40 seconds, like click, 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 click. Like no, if there are no quizzes, like just clicking through, like, girl, we know you did not, you did not get anything out of that, right? But maybe it was because of the way the information was presented. So we did find that when some of those learners were presented with information that kind of matched their learning styles, they spent more time in the trainings, they retained the information, and they performed very well. So.
Right. Yeah. So what are some of the things that you guys talked about last week? I wasn't a part of your session. So when it came to things like, ADHD, and is that mainly, were you talking more about neurodiversity? And
we were talking about neurodiversity in general. So
Yeah.
of course that encompasses Tourette's, ADHD, autism, any of those phenotypes, right? So they're not defects. I think everybody goes into, oh, that's a defect. And we've got to make all of these changes. Like sometimes it's a subtle change. Sometimes it's a small accommodation. So we were basically talking about how people in multifamily can make small considerations for their teams to make them thrive, to help them to thrive. I think sometimes our team members who are neurodivergent, either they don't know, depending on their generation, right? Because we have a newer generation entering the job force that probably does know. I think about 50% or more of Gen Z identifies as neurodivergent, right? But those of us who are 80s babies like me, I didn't get diagnosed. I just kind of surmised because I have a son with ADHD, right? And the doctor was asking the questions and I'm filling out the survey. I'm like, oh. Okay, well, all right, let's keep going. Oh. And then like by the end, I'm like, I feel seen because I'm like, I clearly am neurodivergent. Like my son is so much like I was when I was little. So I'm like self-diagnosing. But at this point, I think it's important to know that you will have a generation that does not know and they require accommodations. And you have a generation that is well aware and they require accommodations. And so it's small things like changing the lighting, like those bright fluorescent lights. I'm telling y'all, it feels like jail. And to a person, who is neurodiverse, baby, those lights, they slow down productivity. So maybe, thank you, Tiana, good to see you. Maybe changing the lights, maybe doing something like creating a small room for those of us who gets overstimulated to go and kind of chill out after a crazy, parking lot incident, right? How many people come in yelling, my car got towed, right? And so having a room for them to kind of go and chill, it's just a small, reasonable accommodation that can make your teams thrive. That's all it was. So
yeah, no, that's good. I think with this stuff, like you said, I think there's a generation that really doesn't even like you said, I'm in the boat of, man, am I? Because when I work, I get hyper focused on stuff or really, really distractible, like cannot focus. It's
Same.
either or. I'm either locked in
Yes.
or my brain. I hate it when I get into like I have a thought and I go into Facebook or something.
Yeah.
And I was like specifically going in there for a reason. No.
An hour later. 2
And then I
hours
forgot.
later.
I'm like, why did I get in here?
Oh my God. You end up back on your grandmom's Facebook like an hour later, like, wasn't I supposed to be doing something on
I had a
LinkedIn?
quick thing I was gonna do. I was gonna look somebody up. I don't know. But
Do you see what
every
Dana said? She
time.
said, and if the lights are buzzing, oh my gosh, I can't. Listen, I'm telling y'all, the people that have their fire alarm beep, I would pull my entire weave out. I swear. Please fix that. Somebody. Yeah.
So what are the couple things that really hit you when you were like reading through the literature for your son?
I think it was like the rumination process, like you were saying, like kind of getting fixated on something, which I identified as perfectionism. I'm like, oh, I'm a perfectionist.
Oh,
Like, no, actually, you
I've been
cannot
told I
do
was a
that.
perfectionist as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So that I used to do this little dance when I was little, and somebody was like, "That's stimming." I'm like, "Is it?" I don't know, to be honest with you. So it's just like little things. Even like preferences, like they were asking, like, do you prefer like a certain spoon? I know this sounds crazy, guys. Like it's literally go online. Do you prefer a certain spoon? It's like a small, it feels a certain way in your hand, or like even fabrics, like certain fabrics, if I wear it, it just doesn't feel good on my body. And I'm like, I gotta change clothes. And that will literally change my whole mood. And my son used to flip out about tags
Okay.
and his like on his back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so special. But it's a superpower. And let me say why. Okay, Dana, what did she say? I'll get up in the middle of the night to change the beeping alarm. Listen, and Dana is short. Girl, the girl was pulling out a ladder, light bulb, screwing down things because it's that bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are some things.
Yeah.
A few things.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I should go in and get assessed. I don't know. My life might
Take
change.
us with you. Take us with you.
No, I think it's important though in the workplace to pay attention. Is there things that you guys do to not assess them? It's not like you're doctors, but to kind of glean out the different ways people learn, and maybe there are ways of keeping attention or focusing.
Yeah, so we do like Clifton strengths, of course, to kind of assess people's strengths because there are some really great strengths that are associated with people that are neurodivergent. So we don't want people to feel like, oh, it's a bad thing. Like
Sure.
we're really good with separating things and picking up on like changes or trends that the average person wouldn't see.
Mm,
One of my supervisors is dyslexic, and when I tell you the girl can run she can do a spreadsheet, she can break down the numbers and tell the story. And so there are some really great things about being neurodivergent. I think the important thing is to observe, to find people's strengths, to place them where their strengths can best be used. And then if you see someone that's struggling, I think Mission Rock does a really great job at asking. We're not like, hey, do you have a diagnosis?
yeah.
But we'll ask things like, is there something that you need to succeed?
Mm,
A property manager will definitely speak with HR. And we've kind of really gone through the whole process of connecting with legal, HR to make sure that our approach aligns with everything that's going to keep both our team members safe as well as Mission Rock. But just asking people if they need help. Like, do you need an accommodation? Like, literally, people will appreciate that. And I
right.
think, again, depending on the generation that you're from, most of us don't know that we need accommodations. We don't know. Listen, I don't know why I like chew on stuff. have a habit of like
Chewing
chewing
on
on
ice.
a straw or ice.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And so she said, yep, a ladder. And so, these are things that can help support our teams. When people see that the approach is always to help and support, they're more than likely to be open to the assistance that you're trying to give them. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's so much there. But it's an
There's so
important
much.
topic. I
Yeah.
feel like, there's probably a lot of companies that just straight up ignore it or reprimand people because they think differently or work differently or learn differently. So I think identifying certain jobs within a company that people thrive in
Yes.
more when they think a certain way is probably a good idea, because it's just like, well, maybe this just isn't good for you. Like
Yeah.
in general, like your health, your thinking, the way you think, the way you know, are
And we
just
have a ton of like centralized positions. The industry is changing. So there is room for people
right.
that love what we do, but maybe don't love working with people.
Sure. Yeah.
Individualization is a game changer for any organization that may have a very diverse pool of people, which
Mhm.
that should be the goal, right?
Right.
So making sure that people's skills align with their job. I think in our industry in multifamily, everybody's like, "Oh, you start as leasing. That's where you start." And it's like matriculating through school. You go to leasing, then an assistant, then property manager, and then a regional. And maybe that's where you stop, but it's not like that. That's not
Yeah.
realistic, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. What was your pattern? Like your, I guess, journey of different positions. You started on site pretty young, I'm
Yes.
assuming in leasing.
It
But
was
what
like that. It was like
yeah,
the crazy thing that didn't
yeah.
make sense. So I went from leasing to assistant manager and property manager, and then I went to Jersey and I was working for this company, and they were like, they wanted me to do everything, and so they had created a title, and then they called me a marketing manager at one community because they created a title somewhere else, and again, I hopped around so much. It was like I was never finding that, the thing that kind of makes it all click, the thing that's like, okay, this is who I am, this is my identity. And so it took a long time to find it. I think if I worked at the type of organization that was able to say, oh, she's good at this aligns, they assess my strengths, then I probably would have arrived here a lot sooner. But I took the road less traveled.
But at the same time, what I've learned is I've had a lot of different jobs in different companies, different industries.
Yeah.
And I've done all these things, learned a lot, taken those things with me, but
Yes.
also learned I don't like some of that stuff. So you really don't know till you do it. So sometimes that's good, because it's
I
like
agree.
the questioning whether or not that job's a good fit or whatever it is. Well, for a fact that wasn't for
I know
me.
now. So
And
true.
now, so how did you come to a place where the learning and development world really clicked for you?
I think it was more that I aligned with the company and then the
Okay.
position became available. So
Okay.
I was a business manager at this really big property. It was like 715 units. And my regional manager actually left and came to Mission Rock. And she was like, "Oh my God, you're gonna love Latrice. I want to, bring her over here because she was great with collections." And I ended up coming to Mission Rock, and it was a lateral move. And I was like, I'm not, And they worked to get my salary where I needed it to be. And I was just like, yeah, but why would I move my whole life? I had a young child. Isaiah was probably 2 at the time, my son. And so I was like, I'm not moving my whole life for a lateral move. And it was funny because I was like praying about it, because everything that I do, even with in matters of business, I'm praying through it. I'm really seeking to make sure that I'm in alignment with my purpose and timing. And so I was like, I gotta go. I gotta do this. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense, but I went. And so I got there. And then 8 months later, after being an assistant manager, the position opened up, and my regional manager and the VP at the time like spoke so highly of me. And I was like, are y'all sure? Because I mean, I did training where at the other communities that I worked at with her. So she knew that I could train the teams, that I was good at what I did. It was just a matter of doing it on a regional scale was a little different. And honestly, I wasn't sure that I truly believed in myself. But they gave me the training that I need, the skills that I need. My boss mentored me. She's my boss now, but at the time she was my peer. She mentored me and like helped me to feel a little bit more confident, or a lot more confident. And so I was able to really step into that role and own it, So
That's awesome. And
yes.
it's cool that they saw that you had that in you and like helped develop it.
Yes.
Instead of like, you didn't necessarily even know that it was the thing that you were good at. Other than you enjoy talking and all that. But now you're in a role where, that is a part of your job, but it's like training others to do well at their work, of leasing and all the things that you're helping them learn. So I think it's great that they saw that and helped you in that way, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
So the next topic that you put in here is just the elevation of leasing and multifamily talent, and really highlighting diversity, equity, and inclusion. So really seeing all people and all types, even beyond, we've already talked about people that are neurodiverse, but there's a lot of other people with a lot of other potential accommodations or backgrounds or things that make them quote unquote different, but doesn't make them like bad or whatever you want to say. Bad's probably the wrong word, but
yeah, no, you're right. Like I literally always tell the story of how like back in the day, the symphony orchestra would call in musicians and they would do them, and all the judges would be like kind of looking at the musician playing. Oh, they're so good. And they found that most of the musicians that made the cut were men. And somebody, don't know who it was, but somebody said, are we letting them in because they're good or because they're all men? And so eventually they got to the point where the judges of, who would make the cut for those different positions, they started blindfolding them. And they found that it wasn't just that the men were better. It was just that we were used to seeing men play in the orchestra. And so that's how the orchestra got more diverse, because they removed that bias, right? That unconscious bias that people had towards certain genders and certain roles. And I think when you open up the pool for anyone who qualifies and can take that role and dominate, right? And I don't mean dominate in a negative way, but really go for it, align with the vision, be passionate, be people focused. When we take the confirmation bias off of that and just let the best person do it. I know, let the best man do it, but let the best person do it. That's when we'll start to see like amazing things happen for our people and our organizations.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, not to get controversial.
Let's get controversial. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
But this topic has become such a hot button thing. Yeah. Rip anything that mentions any part of the word. If it's, my wife's been a victim of this, like with her job.
Wow.
Or schooling, I should say. Just killing programs because they say a word or whatever, as if that, like, these programs are probably great, but we're eliminating things based on a word instead of actually looking at what they're doing. But anyway,
and I think people think it only benefits one group of people or one type of people, when equity is providing a nursing mother with a space to nurse in private, right? Or providing a wheelchair ramp with a building that's older, but maybe you have an employee that you want to get into the building safely. So you put in a ramp, even though it's not required, it's an accommodation. Right. And so that is what allows equity for people to be able to access things that they normally would not. I think not to get too controversial, because I will, but I'm gonna respect your platform. But I think people are misunderstanding the purpose of DEI and why it had to be put in place in the first place.
Yeah.
And so because unfortunately their hearts are seared and they don't understand their own humanity and their own flaws, they assume that it's been created to benefit one group, but it's really been put in place because we weren't given access and we weren't allowed to hold certain positions. I have to be honest, like most of my career, seeing a CFO that's a woman, Kim Hussey, seeing a woman president, a woman CEO, I never saw that. Like growing up, honestly, I never even saw a Black woman beyond, I think it was a regional manager. It was one, she was the GOAT, right? But I never saw that like growing up. And so I would, as a younger person, try to see myself and how far I could go, but I could only see so far because it was never any representation. And so representation is important as well. And I'm always going to shout about DEI, not just for my, group, the groups that I fit within, but for every person. I think it's important for every person to get a shot at opportunities, an equal shot.
Yeah. I agree with you. And I think that's why it's important to give more people the opportunity to have a go at something, like, and get more people representing at higher levels, because I think there's a lot of truth. Like obviously I am a white male, and there's a lot of people that look more like me in different places, right? But there are times where I've experienced it a little bit where I didn't see myself in something, whether it's a type of job or whatever, and it's like you don't have confidence to go after that, because you're like, well, that's probably not where I'm supposed to be.
Which is not true, right?
Sure.
And here's the thing. I think people assume that if you are for DEI, then you're against the white male who's most qualified stepping into a role. That cannot be further from the truth. Right. My thought, and many of us feel, if the white dude, right, with the bow tie is the best person give that man the job, right?
Right.
But if he's not, don't just give it to him because he looks like everybody else in leadership.
Right.
That's all people are really saying.
Yeah, and we can't talk about merit if we say merit and then don't actually base things on merit.
Agreed. Hey, you're preaching to Tiana says, speak on it. Tap tap.
No, I just think it's funny because people always they say that as a thing, and it's like, well, exactly, that's what people want. They want merit.
The whole point. That's what we've been saying the whole time.
But they want merit, but they also want you to look beyond what you see in front of you and what you're comfortable with, right? Because sometimes, like you say, there was bias. I don't think people are honest with themselves when they. It doesn't mean you're racist. It just means you go with what's comfortable.
Yeah, and what you're
familiar with. I mean? Yeah. I think
if that's the case, then what about all these legacy entries into these organizations and universities?
Oh, it happens all the time.
I mean, is that not DEI? And it's finest? Exactly. That's the finest DEI I've ever seen.
But it's whatever it is that people want it to be, right?
Yeah,
like,
agreed.
It's titles. People get hung up on stuff. It's like, and I was in the room for the session. I believe you were there. Apartmentalized for the DEI committee, and they were talking about like trying to add words to it, like belong, or to make everybody know that this isn't about a group. This is about everybody.
This is about all of us. Yeah.
Everybody.
It's so frustrating. Like, let's tap dance a little. We love everybody. No, I'm joking. not the DEI department. I'm just saying in general, like it is a heavier lift. One, to have to create DEI initiatives, but now in order to explain it in a way that pacifies people who are insistent on not understanding. It's like you ever try to explain something to somebody and you like, they really don't care. It doesn't matter if you give them all the statistics, all the information, they don't want to understand it. So I think, we not only have the responsibility to live with, but we also have a responsibility to now explain and to comfort the people that are the reason why we need these initiatives in the first place. And so, I'll overcome. We shall.
It's all right. Well, if we can truly live in a place of meritocracy is the word, I believe, then great.
Yeah. Agree. We're here for that.
Yeah.
If we can get that right.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of everybody not understanding each other and just being in your own brain. Like, this is where I live in my head, and your words. I think words matter so much in people's interpretation of things.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of already gone over that. It gets in the way of like what the point is.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like you can just paint it however you want, but it's like, no, literally, I think everybody wants the same thing. They just want a shot.
Agreed.
And they want to see people like them in places so that they feel more confident to move into that space.
Agreed.
And then there's just the people that they are the trailblazers, and they take the shot even when the person's not there, which is good for the people behind them, but
Yeah, being the prototype is a very lonely place. Sure. I think a lot of times, I know for me, kind of wanting a mentor or someone that would just pour into me, it took me like literally to this year to get a mentor. I was in because we do skip levels at Mission Rock, and so I do a performance review on my manager. She does one on me. And then I also do a skip level meeting. So it's like a 360 performance review, which is amazing. And in my meeting, I'm like, because I'm just trying to make sure I'm being a good leader. And, Marcella knows my little stuff. Yeah. And so she's like, do you want me to formally be your mentor? I'm like, I thought you already were my mentor, because, that's the type of relationship that we have. But it's so nice to have a space where someone sees who you are, what you offer, and has the ability to strengthen you and also bring you up, right? To build you up. If there's something that needs to go, they tell you about it. They're honest, and it's just a great thing. It's an amazing feeling.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then one last thing, we've kind of hit on a little bit with the people that are in leadership, Mission Rock and things, but just the empowerment of other women, and your way of doing so, really honoring their spirit, strategies behind it, and also, I guess, telling stories. Maybe you want to kind of get into your way of empowering women.
Sure. And again, it's not limited to women, but
sure.
That's who I am. So that's what I feel led to. But I think we've seen it, a lot, and I've experienced it myself as I was trying to develop into who I am as a professional and figuring out my identity. I think sometimes when you don't see anything like you and there's nobody that kind of is able to speak to who you are kind of out there trying to figure it out. And being able to speak into, even if I'm not directly someone's mentor, but being able to speak into people and celebrate who they are and encourage them, specifically women, because women who dominate in business, there's not typically a place for us. Or if there is, it's so fluffy and just convoluted that we don't get anything out of it sometimes. And so, I think this generation has gotten they've really gotten used to trying to humble women. And if a woman shows up and she dominates and she's confident, it's like, well, you need to be humble now. Just don't forget to be humble, right? Or you need to calm all that down. But if the same behavior was demonstrated in a male or man, then it would be, oh, he's so confident, he's such a good leader, and so just kind of creating spaces for women, and oftentimes being called into spaces where I can speak into the lives of women professionally, spiritually, or just as a mom, it's really a passion project for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and like we say, it's all about relating to people that are either like going through things that are like what we've gone through.
Yeah.
Being a mom, I cannot resonate with being a mom. I'm not a
Listen,
mom.
best job
Dad.
ever. It's amazing. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but it's a
Yeah.
challenge. It can be a challenge, especially
Yeah.
to a kid with ADHD. It's like having 3 kids.
Yeah.
It's like having 3 little boys running around.
Yeah. Yeah. And being a dad, like I tend to be, no, honestly, I just am less empathetic. I'm like, nah, just do it.
Right. Stop crying.
No, my wife is like, wants to console them. I'm like, yeah, stop that.
Yeah, you're making them soft. No. Run the play. Poor Evan.
So, anyways,
Love that.
yeah.
We need both. We need both.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yep. Yeah, we need a balance.
Yes, there is beauty in having mother and father. So,
Yes, indeed. Well, Latrice, thank you so much for being on with me today, for jumping in last minute. I know we had met last year at Apartmentalize,
yeah.
but we got to connect a little more this year. There's a few occasions where we actually saw each other in the massive thousands of people. So that was great. And I always enjoy getting to know people a little more. So thank you for jumping in on such short notice on a packed day. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that jumped with us onto this conversation and participated. Wendy, Tiana, Dana, and whoever else was on there just lurking. I know who you are. But thanks for chiming in, giving some anecdotes, and giving us something to cheer on. Latrice, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just like she jumped in, it doesn't always have to be last minute. We can plan this out, but I'd love to have you on Boss Talks, no matter the position you hold or the number of years you've been in the industry. I want to highlight all the bosses of multifamily. So if you want to get in on this Boss Talks action, reach out to me. I'd love to host you and tell your story and what you're passionate about. So let's do it. And until next time, it's been Boss Talks.